At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV! Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
The truth is our secret.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Hey, I just Venmo'd you for rent.
Nice. Now I can instantly spend it whether I'm checking out online with Venmo or using a Venmo debit card.
Say more.
More exactly. Because the more you do with Venmo, the more you get. Like earning up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on a bundle of brands.
So, order more pizza.
The math demands it.
Get the Venmo debit card.
Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. Venmo checkout not available at all merchants. Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A.
Hello and welcome to episode 321 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking.
Are you sure? From indie films to studio films to TV to documentaries, and
that's pretty much it. But also everything in between, if there was anything in between. It's a constant source of our debate, but
it really is. It really is.
In between that.
I'd say there was a lot. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
royally F them up.
In our very, very humble opinion. Today on the show, we have director and writer Charlotte Wells.
That's right, she is a well of knowledge.
She is the BAFTA-nominated director
and very well regarded.
Very well regarded. And Paul Mescal, her lead in this film, has been Oscar-nominated for the leading man category in the 2023 Oscars. This is an incredible achievement for an indie film at this level. I'm Giles Alderson.
I'm Don Lenoir. And on this week's episode of the Filmmakers Podcast, we dive in with Charlotte to talk about structuring an unstructured film. That's probably misleading, actually, but we talk about the unconventional way that she's structured her narrative, but all the depth that she goes into to create the individual scenes and the moments. Talked about working with actors and also street casting with the amazing lead, Frankie Corio, that plays opposite Paul Mescal.
She also talks about producing her first film, RAF. She dives deep into how she wrote Aftersun as well, and what it was like on set, working with the DP, working with the cast, how she got this movie made. For those of you in the UK, for the filmmakers out there, you'll have heard of this film. You'll have heard of the buzz, you'll have heard of Charlotte, you'll have heard of what she's done, and it's inspiring. This is a debut film as a director. Hugely inspiring. She's gone from shorts to this. You're not going to get much better than that. You know what I mean? It's incredible. Incredible.
And also, you know, she's gone from shorts to holiday shorts.
For those of you who listen regularly, you're used to that. If you don't, this is remarkable punditry from Tom, and it won't be the last one in this episode, that's for sure. But there we have it. This is our episode with Charlotte Wells. And as a special bonus, part of the Filmmakers Podcast, we have casting director Lucy Pardee joining us on Friday. She cast Aftersun. She also cast Rocks and Perfect 10 and so many other amazing films. So she'll be joining us. So you'll be able to listen to that special bonus episode this Friday. How cool!
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's a nice, fresh perspective and very useful for actors. If any of you are listening, there's some good advice there.
Yeah, and also for directors working with casting directors as well. We talk about that. But we're going to come to Lucy Pardee after Charlotte Wells.
Yeah, I think this is a great episode, especially because it's how someone has gone from making a short to their first feature. And it kind of covers a lot of the journey, but also it took her a long time. And you'll hear about that in the episode. Sometimes you look at people's careers and you think, oh, how did they do this or how did they do that? A lot of the time it is a lot of years of development, finding the right producer, finding the right team. And I think it's important and comforting maybe for filmmakers that are taking a while to get their movies made, to know, this is what waits at the end. If you put the time and the effort in, get nominated for a BAFTA.
Totally agree. Work hard. Stuff happens for you. Find the right people, and she definitely did that. Charlotte Wells did. She's also known as Charlie, by the way, but we don't call her by that on the episode.
So, I hear there's some news about 3-Day Millionaire.
Oh my God, Dom, thanks so much for asking. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I produced the movie 3-Day Millionaire. It is available now on Sky Store, and I think in some select cinemas around the UK and on Amazon Prime. But, as Dom has alluded to there, quite rightly so, we are releasing 3-Day Millionaire in the USA and Canada on the 21st of February. That's literally 2 and a bit weeks away.
Yeah.
How exciting.
And if you've had a bad Valentine's Day, it's a great film to watch.
There you go. And if you're in the UK, watch it now. Anyway, we've also got some news on some other territories, but we'll drop those at a later point. Any news from your end, Dom Lenoir?
Yes, there are some lovely cinema screenings coming up for the latest Shakespeare Sisters vehicle, which is an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing, which is called Much Ado. So there is a date in February. I think it is
the 25th of February. I know, I've written it in my diary.
Perfect. Oh, amazing. There we go. So that's at the Prince Charles Cinema. Giles will probably be there. I will probably be there. They will definitely be there. And yeah, usual sort of shenanigans. And there's a couple of other ones across the UK coming up, which you'll be able to hear about very soon.
Exciting. Is there a link that we can put in the show notes yet?
There certainly is, yeah.
Great. All right, send that across. We'll stick it in the show notes. Right, let's get to it. This is the fantastic Charlotte Wells talking to myself and Dom Lenoir. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you? You all right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Dom's just gone to go tell his housemate to stop playing the bongos. Literally, as we start recording,
don't mind some bongos. That's all right for me.
It's always fun for a podcast. Always fun.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, he's back.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's good, thanks.
Just found out my housemate was doing a bongo drum audition.
Oh, it's an audition.
At the exact same time as the podcast. So
brilliant. So yes, Charlotte, all going well. You must be doing a lot of press at the moment now.
Oh yeah, I mean, no complaints here.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's it. You work so hard to get a film out there, and people now want to talk to you. It's like, yeah, okay, let's talk.
Yeah,
it's a surreal time as well when your movie's out. You sort of put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and you've been through the process of making it, and then it's kind of out there to the world, and you're listening to reviewers, and trying to hope that people enjoy it, and all the hard-earned effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute at this point, so I feel like the only thing that continues to be weird is when I look up cinema showtimes. And my brain takes like 0.1 seconds to catch up. And I'm like, oh, what's Aftersun film? Just for that, like 0.1 second. And then I realize, and it's always very, very surreal.
Surreal, but wonderful, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. We've just had a film out in the cinemas as well. And it's just a joy, even though you're constantly in this, what's going on? How are we getting it out there? Who's watching it? What's happening? It still feels amazing to just click on cinema listings and there it is.
How do you feel about the whole review sort of world? I mean, you've got amazing reviews so far from this, from what I've seen.
Yeah, that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd have a really different relationship to it if the reviews had all been eviscerating. Yeah, it's tricky. I've read a lot. I don't read anything I contribute to. I will never hear this. But if it's something a little bit more objective, but you know what I mean? Without my contribution, at least, I have read a lot. I'm not sure I would do it again. It's a dangerous cycle, and my producers did stage an intervention at a certain point. When
because you can get bogged down in reviews. You can get suddenly, what do people think, what does this, and it can really affect you as a filmmaker, and you start thinking, oh god, they were right, this person was right, and it's weird because it's just someone's view, but yet we take it so personally.
Yeah, and inevitably you gravitate toward the negative at a certain point in time. You seek it out. I don't know, whatever human instinct it is that leads us to do that, but at somebody's suggestion, I retrain and do something else with my life. I was just standing there very despondently before a Q&A. My producer marched me over to Barry, one of my other producers, and was like, tell her to stop. And I did for 24 hours, and they were a beautiful 24 hours.
I think every reviewer should have to go through the process of making a film before, like, the level of cruelty that they sometimes unleash on something that they maybe they don't even understand, or they just don't relate to, and they've kind of tried to intellectualize and.
Well, I think that's like, I think what's tricky is when the reviews are. Yeah, I mean, it's subjective, but you wouldn't always know that from reviews.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, I think it's those that dismiss anything as just like of no meaning to anybody because it had no meaning for them. That I think is the trickiest when you have poured several years of your life into the creation of something.
Yes.
But I've been extremely fortunate with reviews. In fact, after we premiered at Cannes, we were being whisked off to a very fancy lunch. I was in the car with two of my producers, and we kind of took turns reading the reviews. I read the only negative one. They were like, "Charlie, why? Why is this the one?" I'm like, "This is just the next one in line. I don't know."
Yeah, we can't help it. It's like, I can't help it. It's so beautiful up into the light. You know what I mean? We just can't, like a moth to a flame. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then I suppose, like you said, your producer just turned to you and said, "Hey, you know, you've got to do this."
We're premiering Cannes.
Yeah, exactly. But I imagine even now, if you're feeling that way, they can go, "You've just been nominated for a BAFTA." You know what I mean? Your film got Best British Film. You've got, you know, Outstanding Debut. Your cast is literally, there's honours being thrown at them, including Oscar nominations. And you're, literally going, "No, but there's this one review, there's this one newspaper.
Like, this one guy on Letterboxd said he'd be better off as a plumber."
Exactly. Yeah. Isn't it weird how we do that? Success is what is it? It doesn't mean anything. It's what we feel inside. And you should feel incredibly proud because your film is stunning, as you know.
I do. Thank you. I do. I feel proud. I feel proud of my own work, but I feel even more proud of everybody else's. So there's no question about that.
Good. For us, it's fascinating to know how you started this, because obviously you produced a feature before this. It's called RAF or Rafe.
It's RAF, yeah.
RAF, right.
Yeah, so no one asked me about RAF. I'd be very glad to talk about RAF.
Oh, cool. Because we know you produced RAF before this, and you'd made a load of shorts. You produced lots of stuff. You'd worked so much behind the scenes on films and shorts and making things, and suddenly to go from that to blowing up massively, film with who people are in it being Oscar nominated as your debut movie as a director is incredible. Talk us through that process from saying, "Hey, I want to make Aftersun as a feature."
Yeah, like RAF and a lot of the shorts were in that time. I mean, I went to film school. And business school as a producer, after doing a few other things and feeling like this was what made sense for me. This would be a way to combine many different interests and to work on lots of different types of projects. And then in the course of being at film school, I made a film and everything changed. I found this thing that I never thought I'd find, this thing I loved more than anything else, that I could direct all of my obsessive energy toward. And I made a short film, and that film was called Tuesday. It's now on Mubi, which is very weird because suddenly people are talking to me about this like very first outing into filmmaking that I made with a bunch of my friends. And yeah, it was just creatively satisfying in ways I had never anticipated. And I had really great collaborations on that film with Sam, who shot it, and with everybody else. And I started after that film, which I made at the beginning of 2015, kind of in the autumn of 2015. It was my last year, the beginning of my third year at film school, and everybody's thinking about features. What are you going to write? And I didn't take a writing class, but I took an independent study with this professor, and I walked in with this idea of a father and a daughter on holiday. And so we watched movies about fathers and daughters. We watched Paper Moon and Alice in the Cities. We watched other films with kids of around that age. I think we watched Corpo Celeste. We watched Tomboy Somewhere, and among many others. And at that point, I sent myself on holiday to Cyprus alone with some fantasy
Horrible
of...
homework.
I was going to say, that sounds terrible. I,
know, right?
sent
It was
myself
a
away to...
kind of grossly irresponsible financial decision, to be totally honest with you.
Right, okay.
But I had some fantasy of like writing the whole script. Like, I'm going to go away for 2 weeks and come back with a script.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I came back with like 2 pages and sometimes...
Were they good 2 pages, though?
They were fine.
Acceptable
they were
pages.
the only 2 pages I had for about 2 years, so they were great.
Were you going out there to research? Were you just sort of absorbing what tourists are like out there? Were you kind of trying to observe families? Like, what was it that you really gained?
I think I saw it as a self-imposed writing retreat in the environment that I wanted to set this film. And it's true that I recalled a lot of details. It's been many years since I've been on that type of holiday. And many observations I made, down to the singer with the headset mic and the glitter jacket that I drew from that trip. And just the memory of what it was to get on the coach at the airport and travel through the darkness to arrive at your destination and make all those stops at other hotels along the way.
Yeah, I remember it.
Which was originally in the film.
Oh, was it?
And and then it took a long time to write. And I mean, it's a very long 8-year story, but I eventually did write it in 2019 after putting a lot of work in, a lot of world building, a lot of trying to write, which felt like wasted time, but I don't think was, looking back. I think I was laying the foundation. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it very quickly, and I spent 6 months pretending to redraft and just moving around commas. I sent it to a producer who I'd started to build a relationship with. I'd met her through, a friend of a friend of a friend, kind of introductions, through being very lucky to have my short films play at film festivals, Sundance and then TIFF in the same year in 2017. And we'd been meeting and I'd been promising the script and failing to deliver it. And eventually I sent it and she was on board. That was Pastel. That was the Gala Romanski at Pastel. And we started to move forward. And there was a lot of work to be done in between. It went through pretty significant rewrites. It got much better. But I'd say that the heart of this film coming together was that relationship with my producer and the relationship with my cinematographer, my editor, who were friends from film school. I produced 3 of Greg's short films. I produced 1 of Blair's short films. It was the last thing I produced, actually. It was a beautiful short called I'm the One Who's Singing, back in 2018. It was a long road.
So why don't we drop it in the trailer? Dom, do you want to say what the film's about?
Aftersun is a journey of a father and a daughter who go on a Turkish holiday together. And it's about their relationship, the troubles of the father, the trying to find connection and searching for meaning in a sunny destination.
I love you.
Love you.
Why don't you go over and introduce yourself?
Dad, they're like kids. Why don't you go over and introduce yourself?
Sophie, they're like old.
Think you'll ever move back to Scotland?
No.
Why?
There's this feeling, once you leave where you're from, that you don't totally belong there again. You okay through there?
Don't you ever feel like tired and down and feels like your bones don't work, like you're sinking?
We're here to have a good time, eh? I want you to know that you can talk to me about anything as you get older, Done it all and you can too.
Wish we could have stayed for longer.
Me too.
What was the kind of process in terms of your outlining? Because it is a film very much of moments between the son and the daughter, so the father and the daughter, and how they relate to each other, and almost what you don't see, because it's very much from her perspective as well. How do you sort of do you kind of go through scenes and say, okay, this is generally what I want to get from the relationship in the scene, bullet point, then kind of go into the first draft? Was that how you were kind of approaching it before your producer came along?
So I worked from an outline that I wrote the first draft from, and it was just the days. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was only 2 pages, and it was stuff that happened. He teaches her how to play pool. They go on a dive trip. Mm-hmm. They go to the amphitheater. They sing karaoke. But in my head, I'm holding much more than that. I'm holding what I see the relationship as, and how I see their perspectives on each other, contradict their perspectives on themselves, or evolve over the course of the film. I'm holding so much in my head. And it was one of the hardest parts of writing, was feeling like I needed a fourth dimension to be able to visualize the film as a whole. But eventually I came up with a very complicated index card color-coded system so that I could see where the rave sat. I could see where the TV sat. And in that first draft, I wrote mostly on instinct. The rave emerged on the page. Blair's short film, the one I just mentioned, had opened with a club sequence under a strobe light. Mm-hmm. And I think that image had really lodged itself in my mind. He was kind of finishing up that film at that point. I was writing. Mm. And I followed it to the end, and I found this rave, and then the redraft process came about how to articulate the feeling that the film built toward and how to calibrate these different elements. But ultimately, I had a lot of trust in, or other people had a lot of trust in me. I think ultimately that I knew what this film was, because it was really hard to communicate on the page how that rave would feel, how this really strange abstract sequence would form the emotional climax of the film successfully. And I didn't know if it would, is the truth. But I was willing to bet other people's money on finding out, rather than on self-editing the script to be something safer, but potentially less ambitious artistically.
What did you write there? Because obviously we do jump back to those rave scenes a bit. How did you expand on them each time within your writing?
Well, I think it was a case of understanding what it was as one scene, and then considering how that scene... it's easy to... That's one scene that's split up across the course of the film, but that isn't really how I wrote it. I wrote it not knowing where it was going, and an appropriate place to dip back into that world. And then, of course, later had to really interrogate at what points we entered the rave space and whose perspective we came off, because there was a danger it feel like his space, that it feel like his fantasy, rather than to some degree a psychological space in her mind 20 years later, that is maybe based in reality but somewhat situated out of place and time. When does it take place? Is there something concrete that happens there? These were all questions I had to ask over the course of writing. How explicit do I want that space to be? How real should it feel? And that carried through at every stage. It was definitely the most challenging. Both that and Callum's private struggle were the most challenging aspects of the script, of shooting, and of the edit.
I was going to say, I mean, in terms of those two aspects, like his, in terms of the balance of what to tell the audience versus what not to tell them. I mean, I guess when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking, well, it's in hindsight, as you start to introduce her when she's older, she doesn't know what these gaps are and what his struggle is, and that's kind of why it's seen from that perspective. But it's really haunting, because you don't quite know, what's going on in his mind, and you sort of, I think it's a very good look at sort of depression and the moments when people are okay, where they seem everything's fine, and then what the reality is in those other moments, and the disconnects with people. But I mean, were you unsure in terms of the ending, how open-ended to leave it? Because I mean, it is open to interpretation. Like, I wasn't sure if he died soon after the holiday, or something like that had happened, and this was sort of looking back with that lens from her, or if it was something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, I know what my intention was with it. However, I also knew from the experience of making short films that my intention would not be read by everybody, and that people would bring their own life experiences and relationships into the cinema as they sat down, and that it would inform the context that they built around what happens at the end of it. That being said, I always felt as though interpretation of the narrative events that unfold after the film, or even in the film, the feeling of the end ideally is somewhat consistent, even if its context is a little bit different. The feeling of loss, the feeling of the love that transcends that. And I was okay with that. That being said, I had to always work toward exactly what it was I was trying to express, both because this ultimately is expression of self in some way, and just trusting that that is what had worked before and being aware of the space. But I was never interested in diagnosing Callum or, you know, having him on the phone to Sophie's mum, like calling in some medical prescription. I don't know. It was never interesting to me because, as you say, Sophie doesn't really know. And Paul, as he eloquently says, Callum doesn't either. Callum doesn't have a full grasp on what's wrong. He knows he succumbs to these moments of absolute desperation. He knows what he feels, but he doesn't necessarily know why. And so we had to keep him somewhat at arm's length, but it's a line to walk. It is a knife edge of subtlety, and it's one that I walk in every film I make. And sometimes you fall on the wrong side of it. And sometimes to some people, it is just so painfully obvious. And other people have no idea what your film was about. And you're never going to capture everybody.
No.
And so I'll always opt to deepen the connection with the people who are on board than try to reach people who aren't going to feel it.
Yes.
Even if they understand it.
Yeah. That's why you should ignore that one review that says, wow, exactly what you just talked yourself around that. Look, the fact this is set in the 90s as well, around that time, or wherever you're setting it, it totally connected to me. And the fact that he didn't know what was going on, well, around that time, there was no way you'd express that feeling of what you're, if you're depressed or whatever. You wouldn't tell anyone. That's why he keeps it all in. You just, a lot of angry men running around. It's beautiful. It's really stunning. It's really stunning what you've done. And I love what you said about the knife edge. How then, because now you've got this script that is on a knife edge and people might know which way it's going. How did you get it made? Because that's the tough bit. And when you've got a script that could go one way or the other and people are going, well, what does it mean? What's happening potentially? How then did you go, right, no, this is what it's going to be and here's how I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I was so lucky to find a producer who believed in me, who even like, which always surprised me. Like I mean, was like, when I first met Adela, fairly fresh off Moonlight Academy Award.
Right.
and I just did feel like disbelief that we were starting to walk this path together, and it was my first film, and of course now understand why and the types of projects she's interested in. But ultimately I was very lucky to have a producer that I was walking that road with together, and who was a creative partner in helping figure out the script and how to allow it to connect with the most amount of people, how to allow people to connect with it on the page, which is irrelevant at the end of the day, like however good a script is on the page, because it's about realizing it in the film, certainly if you're writing and directing it. I had a conversation yesterday about pitching and how to be good at pitching, and it's like, well, you just need to be good enough to get people to read the script, and the script just needs to be good enough to get people to, like, you're always working toward the goal of the film if you're writing and directing. And yeah, I kind of had a partner in that, and also, of course, very lucky to be British and have access to money through broadcasters and national funding that you certainly don't have in America. It's much, much harder if you're an American making a first-time film and having to piece together disparate sources of private equity for the most part. And so I had built a bit of a relationship with Eva Yates from the BBC. I'd cold called her at Sundance with my first short that played there.
Good for you. Yeah.
She was at Film 4 at the time, and someone had slipped me a list of delegates, and I was like, well, Film 4 are cool. I wonder if she'll meet me for coffee, and she did. And
Nice.
We'd stayed in touch, and Adela had just produced Never Really, Sometimes Always, Eliza Hittman's film that they had done in partnership with BBC as well. So that was kind of an enduring or a relationship that there was no to take further on this film. And then we brought on a British producer, Scottish producer, Amy Jackson, and we applied for funding through the BFI and Screen Scotland. And we did have one piece of American equity in there too. And I feel very fortunate, I suppose. I mean, no, I suppose I absolutely do. But I think amid the question of how you're getting your film, period of waiting and anticipation and nerves, it did always feel like we were moving forward. And for that, I feel really grateful. Even as I was redrafting the script, from the day that I sent that script to Pastel, it felt like we were always taking steps toward making it happen. And we never got caught in that purgatory that can so often happen when you're making a film, where suddenly everything stalls.
Were you always kind of sure what kind of tone it was going to be? That it was going to be sort of, I mean, I don't want to say art house, but it's sort of it's going in that direction. It's like independent, it's festival awards type film. Was that always part of the plan in terms of the pitching, and you knew that was the way that the money would make sense for? Or did you kind of try other routes as well when you were on the journey before you got to that route?
No, this was the route that we pursued off the bat. I mean, it's a film that prioritizes tone over plot. I don't know that is, I mean, it becomes semantic at the end of the day, however you want to describe that type of film. But it certainly isn't a film that fits into a classical 3-act structure. Mm-hmm. Of a narrative where one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. But I think that was clear from my shorts, that's what I was interested in. I think that was clear from the references I had, that's what I was interested in. And it was certainly clear from the script.
Yeah. What about on set then? What about your day-to-day working with, Paul Mescal and, your fantastic lead girl, Frankie Corio? How was your working relationship? Obviously, you've done loads of shorts. You've worked with actors. How do you like to play? How do you like to make sure you're getting what you need?
Yeah, I mean, I'd worked with actors, but you don't really have the time to build a trust in each other for films. And that is something I was really looking forward to in this, and was looking for, especially in the actor who was going to play Callum, like a real partner in developing that character and portraying that character. And Paul is so good. I was able to kind of hand over my file on Callum, so to speak, and let Paul use that as a foundation on which to build, and through which to find his own empathy for Callum and an expression of that. So much of production was centered around Frankie. It had to be. She was 10 years old, turned 11 on set, and had never acted before. Her hours were incredibly constrained. They were our greatest constraint on that. It wasn't on set. It wasn't 35 millimeter film. It wasn't light. It was Frankie, always, almost always. And it was about giving her...
What kind of restrictions were there on that kind of thing for filmmakers that are looking to do something with an actress at that age or an actor?
So their hours are constrained by their local education authority. But Frankie was allowed to be on camera for 4 hours a day with extremely specific breaks. And on camera meant rehearsing. It meant it being in hair and makeup. It meant being mic'd up. It meant talking to me if the camera wasn't rolling. Wow. And she could be on set for 9.5, but there were very frequent and, like I say, specific breaks within that.
Which restricts you as well, doesn't it? Because suddenly your schedule is based totally around that. So you've now got to think, okay, how do we make this film work within the time frame that we've got to shoot it? But she's in so much of the film, so you're almost not doing Paul's side of it, shooting all her side, and then coming back to Paul. I don't know. But...
Yeah. There were times that I sat in and I read for Frankie, and I'd forget my lines because I'm trying to evaluate Paul's performance and see everything else that's going on. And he was so accommodating of that. I mean, he's such a professional, and he was incredibly understanding, but of course would much be performing opposite Frankie. And it was actually really hard to modulate tone there because the mood would just be so much lower when Frankie wasn't around. Her energy was so high. And so you had to be very careful that you were matching, that Paul was matching the energy of the scene with her. But we tried to give him as much opportunity as possible to perform with her on his singles. And I mean, 4 hours sounds like a lot in some ways, but the reality is most of that time is camera setup and lighting tweaks, and you're not actually shooting for 4 hours a day. I think we shot probably on average an hour a day of film. And it's just a lot of time. I mean, anybody who's been on a film set knows that it takes a lot of time.
And that time goes very quickly, very quickly.
So,
quickly. Were you working closely, obviously, with your DP? Were you planning your shots way before? Were you in the space, beforehand, obviously rehearsing, but were you very specific that with Gregory Oak?
Yeah, I mean, Gregory Oak. Yeah, we started months before we got to Turkey, and it was really about developing visual language of the film. It wasn't just shot listing. It was figuring out how we could use the camera to express point of view, differentiate point of view, establish Sophie as an adult as the overarching point of view in the film, and how to make that felt in scenes where Callum was alone, for example. How to use zooms, how to use camera movement, unmotivated camera movement, what that would mean, and then we got through maybe half to 2/3 of the script that way. And we had really extensive shot lists. There was still a high efficiency in how we were shooting, but and it wasn't conventional coverage in terms of shot reverse shot, but our shot lists were extensive. And what happened was, inevitably, we would get to set, we would take too much time, or something would take too much time, and we would have to consolidate drastically. Sometimes collapse like 8 shots into one.
Wow.
I mean, not often, but sometimes those scenes simply didn't work in one shot. Sometimes they did.
I mean, were some of those the really creative shots, or are those more like playing out masters? I mean, there's shots like like the TV where you've got the reflections, which feel very deliberate. Like, were those always planned well in advance? I mean, are you also sort of? I mean, also sort of kind of focusing on the actors to kind of get that 4 hours to be maximized. Work around them rather than around the shots. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, because we didn't have rules, we were very clear, no rules, but we certainly had strategies of how to shoot certain types of scenes, what it meant for Sophie to have a direct point of view, and how we would shoot that up close, fragmented, how we would shoot Callum alone. And so if we didn't have a plan, like I know that the scene where Sophie is tidying up the bedroom, that was a rare example where we had nothing. We had no idea how we were shooting that. And we just had a minute. Greg set up, he found a shot, the camera is really fluid, it tracks her around the room, she stops in front of the mirror, she throws something on the bed. We got a couple of kind of closer almost inserts there, but it just works so well, and it is so effortless, and it's one of my favorite scenes, and a rare scene of Sophie alone in that way. The TV, there were shots that were written into the script. The TV is one of them, but it wasn't written with reflections. It was written with a kind of fantasy room geography that couldn't really be executed. And in fact, what we found was in the convex television, the opportunity for so many more images on screen. I think there's probably 6 images in that frame at a certain point. Callum reflected in the edge of the TV on the balcony, the image on the TV, reflection of her in the TV, the mirror, the DV screen through the mirror. It's so satisfying. And that's really an example of all the elements and all the departments coming together to solve a problem. Camera, design. Like, what is the best version of this? And it's so much better than what was on the page. Although the blueprint for that idea, seen playing out on a TV live and seeing on the periphery of the frame, then move around.
It adds to the nostalgia as well. Like it really sort of draws you into that VHS handy-cam memories of those eras gone by.
No, it's beautiful.
I found that really powerful.
It really is. Just to wrap up then, because we know you've got an extensive schedule right now. Moving forward to your next film, what will you take with you that you learnt as a director, producer, writer, but mainly director, writer in this case, that you might do differently? And within that, some advice for someone who hasn't made their first feature yet. It's 2 questions in one, I know.
I don't know. Many things. I would, if a scene wasn't working, I would breathe, and I would think, if I had to capture this scene in a single image without any dialogue, what would it be? And I would shoot it. That's probably the single most practical thing that I would do, just so that nothing ever goes to waste. You know when something's not working, and it like there were things on set that they're not working, and maybe you'll figure out a way for it to work after the fact. But so often I can see that how if I just got this one image, it would have served its purpose, and it would have communicated what I wanted to communicate with it. So practically speaking, I'd say that. But in terms of script, I think you can't execute perfectly. It's not possible. And I think it's important to know that going in. I think it's important to have a script that can still support your emotion or your idea, whatever it is you're trying to express, if you don't execute perfectly. And you can't predict what you're going to lose. It might be your favorite thing. It might be something you thought was absolutely non-negotiably essential. But maybe you lose it, and you need to have enough that it can still stand. And I feel really lucky that I did, because we sure didn't execute everything perfectly. A couple of things, we came pretty close. And I think that is like a massive accomplishment in and of itself. The TV, we executed better under pressure. Miraculously, we executed pretty perfectly. The conversation on the float in the mud baths, we had 6 pages of dialogue to shoot in 30 minutes somehow. It didn't feel like we executed it perfectly. That was a very long, sad, quiet drive to the amphitheater after that morning.
Right.
But it's there.
But it's there, and people love it.
It's a deeply haunting and really moving film, and I think one of the best I've sort of seen on that kind of relationship with a parent and child, and depression, and all those nuances of family holidays. So very well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Listen, Charlotte, thank you. This has been lovely. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Lovely to talk to you. All the best.
Nice to talk to you guys.
Bye. That was really cool. Enjoyed it a lot.
Great chat.
Yeah, really good. It's fascinating how she took 8 years to write it. 8 years development, 8 years with that whole team. And the fact that she managed to get Barry Jenkins on board, the director of Moonlight, through Adele Romansky, the producer who championed Charlotte. That's so cool. And this can happen to you if you're in the right place at the right time. If your writing's really good, people will see it, and it will make a difference.
And just get a cheeky meeting at a festival. That's what Charlotte did. She, I think it was Edinburgh. I can't remember if it was Edinburgh or another one. But she sent an email to someone that was going to be at the festival. Met them for a coffee, and there we go.
And there we go. And there we have it.
The rest is history.
And there it is. Aftersun is out
in a Boots chemist near you. Always make sure you to hydrate your skin after going in the sun.
So there we have it. That was Charlotte Wells. Aftersun is out now. Links to all that will be in the show notes. Do go watch it. Do go support indie filmmaking and this, quite frankly, brilliant breakout movie. You can go out there making films, people. You can do it. You can write those scripts. You can get to those top producers. And if you do, you're lucky enough to rise up and do well.
Send the elevator back down.
You must. So until next Tuesday, when we have Tar director Todd Field, potentially, or we have Andor and Sharper director Ben Caron, or
very nice.
We have Dexter Fletcher. Shh. Don't tell anyone.
Dexter Fletcher.
Dexter Fletcher. There we go. Right, thanks, Dom.
Thanks, Giles.
See you all next Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Have a good time.
Stay safe in the sun. Use Aftersun. There we go.
That would be good to go in there. All right, take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.